Shannon Beador and Tamra Judge tearfully mend fences during RHOC Season 18 reunion. Over the last month, it's been heavily rumored that Shannon Beador and Tamra Judge ended their convoluted feud during the taping of the Real Housewives of Orange County reunion. When the first part of the end-of-season sit-down aired earlier this month, Shannon made it clear that she was cutting toxic people out of her life. She said Tamra was one of those people at the time, meaning they could not repair things unless a miracle happened. However, things took an emotional turn during the third and final part of the reunion when Andy Cohen shared videos of John Jansen bashing Shannon. The videos lined up with what viewers saw of John this season, in which he took to confessionals to imply Shannon had a troubled relationship with the truth. For her part, Tamra stayed quiet as Shannon and Alexis screamed at one another during the taping. What got Shannon's attention was Tamra's reaction during John's confessionals. Shannon is ready to move on with Tamra. Shannon understood that she had done some bad things before filming the season and felt Tamra was cruel to her, but she could also see there was some shred of decency in Tamra in her reaction. In one of the biggest surprises, Shannon stood up to hug it out with Tamra and recalled a prior reunion in which Vicky Gunvalson asked her for a hug, but she wasn't sure why. Shannon admitted that hugging Tamra felt right in a way she couldn't explain, and the two women burst into tears as they shared apologies. The good news is that they mended fences without screaming at one another, and they should remain friends this time. 36 hours after the reunion finished taping, they filmed for the show, in which they exchanged hugs after Shannon heard the truth about what John did the night of her DUI arrest. Has Tamra changed of her own volition? The truth is that Tamra held herself accountable for her actions and admitted that she didn't like the person she saw on the show while watching it back this season, so maybe there's a chance that she will change before RHOC Season 19 filming gets underway. Tamra has found herself on the outs with fans this season because of her treatment of Shannon, so there will be skeptics who believe that she only changed her behavior to appease viewers. Bravo has yet to renew the show for another year, but it should have no trouble securing one with this year's increased attention. The Real Housewives of Orange County reunion stage was set in opulent shades of gold and cream, mirroring the luxurious chaos that had unfolded during Season 18. It had been a tumultuous season, one marked by fractured friendships, biting words, and moments of reflection. At the heart of the drama was the long-standing feud between Shannon Beador and Tamra Judge. Once the epitome of ride-or-die besties, their friendship had crumbled under the weight of misunderstandings, resentment, and the unforgiving spotlight of reality television. As the reunion unfolded, Andy Cohen navigated the treacherous waters of unresolved tensions with his characteristic mix of diplomacy and cheekiness. "Let's talk about the elephant in the room," he began, his piercing gaze bouncing between Shannon and Tamra, who were seated at opposite ends of the couch like estranged sisters at a family dinner. Shannon, resplendent in an emerald green gown that matched her defiant spirit, adjusted her microphone with a nervous flick of her hand. Tamra, dressed in a sleek silver number that radiated both strength and vulnerability, crossed her arms, a defensive gesture that betrayed her unease. "Tamra," Andy continued, leaning forward with a knowing look, "your friendship has been through the ringer this season. Do you think there's a way back?" The question hung in the air like a thundercloud. Shannon exhaled deeply, her lips pursed as though she were preparing to dive into icy waters. "I don't even know where to start," she began, her voice trembling. "This has been one of the hardest seasons for me, and losing Tamra as my friend, it felt like losing a part of myself." Tamra's steely expression faltered. For a moment, the firecracker who had thrown drinks and delivered scathing one-liners seemed muted. "You hurt me, Shannon," she said, her voice cracking. "I felt abandoned, like I didn't matter to you anymore." The reunion audience, seated in the shadows, murmured sympathetically. Even the most casual viewers of RHOC knew the history between these two. From drunken escapades in Mexico to late-night phone calls filled with laughter and tears, their friendship had been one of the most genuine and entertaining aspects of the show. "I never wanted you to feel that way," Shannon replied, her eyes brimming with tears. "But it felt like you were attacking me this season, calling me out in front of everyone, making me look like a bad friend." Tamra threw her hands up in exasperation. "Because you shut me out, Shannon. You didn't return my calls, you didn't show up when I needed you. And when I tried to tell you how I felt, you acted like I was the problem." Andy interjected gently, "Do you both think that maybe there was a miscommunication, or were there deeper issues at play?" Shannon wiped at her tears, her mascara smudging slightly. "It wasn't just miscommunication," she admitted. "It was fear. I've been through so much, my divorce, my weight struggles, the criticism from fans, and I felt like I couldn't handle any more judgment. I thought if I pulled back, it would protect me, but instead, I hurt the one person who's always had my back." Tamra softened visibly, her shoulders relaxing as she listened. "I didn't realize you were going through all that," she said. "But Shannon, you have this way of shutting people out when you're hurting, and it makes it so hard to be there for you." The audience was silent, their collective breath held as the two women grappled with their emotions. Andy, ever the facilitator, leaned forward again. "Tamra, you said earlier this season that you felt like Shannon only cared about herself. Do you still feel that way?" Tamra hesitated, glancing at Shannon, who looked like she was bracing for impact. "I did feel that way," she admitted, her voice soft. "But sitting here now, I can see that it wasn't selfishness. It was fear and pain." Shannon's lower lip quivered. "Tamra, I'm so sorry for making you feel like I didn't care. You've been such an important part of my life, and losing you, it was devastating." Tamra's eyes glistened with unshed tears. "I'm sorry, too. For not being more patient, for lashing out instead of trying to understand." Andy handed them tissues, his expression a mix of empathy and satisfaction. "This is what the reunion is all about, healing and closure," he said with a smile. The two women reached for each other's hands, their fingers intertwining in a gesture that spoke of forgiveness and hope. "I miss us," Shannon whispered. "I miss us, too," Tamra replied. Their tearful reconciliation was met with applause from the audience, and even the other housewives on the couch couldn't hide their smiles. Emily Simpson leaned over to whisper something to Heather Dubrow. In agreement. Gina Kirchenheiter wiped a tear from her own cheek, clearly moved by the emotional display. Andy gave them a moment before steering the conversation back to lighter topics, but the energy in the room had shifted. The reunion, once tense and fraught, now carried a sense of catharsis. As the taping wrapped up hours later, Shannon and Tamra were spotted backstage, chatting and laughing like old times. It was clear that while their friendship had been battered, it was far from broken. In her post-reunion confessional, Tamra reflected on the moment. "I never thought we'd get here, but I'm so glad we did. Shannon and I have been through so much together, and at the end of the day, I love her like a sister. Sometimes, you have to fight for the people who matter." Shannon, in her confessional, echoed the sentiment. "Tamra and I have had our ups and downs, but I believe in forgiveness and second chances. I'm hopeful that we can rebuild our friendship stronger than ever." As the credits rolled on season 18, fans took to social media to express their relief and joy at the reconciliation. For many, Shannon and Tamra's friendship was the heart of RHOC, and seeing them mend fences was the perfect way to close out a roller coaster season. Whether their newfound peace will endure the pressures of reality television remains to be seen, but for now, Shannon and Tamra have shown that even in the world of housewives, some bonds are worth fighting for.